Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being on the Foreclosures Daily webinar tonight. We really appreciate you. I'm going to go over a couple of introductions here. The webinar is going to last probably about an hour and a half. Let me know if you can hear me. Go ahead. Somebody can just type in yes. Let me know and we'll go ahead and get started. The webinar will take about an hour and a half. Going to do a slideshow presentation that's going to take about 30 minutes. We're going to bring Steve Howell on. He's a guest that we have on here tonight for just a couple of moments. I see the yeses, so you don't have to let me know anymore. You can definitely hear me. We're going to be going over the demonstration on how our services work here at Foreclosures Daily. We have about, like I said, a 30-minute slideshow presentation. It's going to last about 30 minutes. Steve's going to talk for a few minutes. We're going to show you some of the services we can offer. We're going to open it up for Q&A in the end. Guys, I want you to understand that I want you to ask questions during the whole presentation. There's a little Q&A you should see on your Zoom toolbar. It says Q&A. Go ahead and send in questions during the whole Foreclosures Daily presentation. It's not going to interrupt me. I want you to send your questions in as you're thinking of them, because I want to know what you have to say in the end. We're going to open it up in the end again for Q&A, so go ahead and ask questions during the whole entire presentation. So what's going to happen is we're going to do an introduction to Steve Howell. He's been a long-time speaker and a subscriber of Foreclosures Daily for a long time come. He uses our probates, our data on a daily basis, on a regular basis. We're going to be going over some bonuses we're going to be giving you in the end of the webinar. Also, we're going to have a big, huge special tonight. The owner has asked me to do a special for every single person who stays on to the end of the webinar. You guys are going to get a lot of bonuses and specials that are offered only during this webinar. And also, if you take advantage of any of the lead services we have to offer by Friday, you guys are also going to get a special bonus. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Steve Howell, and he's going to take it away for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and he's going to introduce himself, tell you what he's all about, and then I'm going to take it back over from there. He's going to unmute himself and talk in just a few moments. Okay,
all right, guys. Welcome to the webinar here. I just want to make sure that my audio is coming through nice and clean. So if you can give me a thumbs up or a yes that you can hear me as well, I'd appreciate that. Awesome. What's up, Steve? What's up, Beth? What is up, Mohammed? Nice to see you guys here. So, all right. So this is kind of a unique style webinar. Tangie and I have been doing business together for a long time. She is such a sweetheart and a wealth of knowledge. So we have a lot of Foreclosure Daily subscribers on this webinar. We have my YouTube subscribers. We have my email list subscribers, some of my customers and students on this call. And so we really wanted to bring the heat tonight and share some wisdom with you, share some insight with you. And so for those of you who don't know who I am, I don't want to sit here and flash a bunch of checks on the screen or babble about myself too much. I'll give you just a kind of short, sweet rundown. I've been in the real estate investing world since 2009. So I got started right when the last market crash happened. I was working at the time in 2007 at Fidelity Investments in the financial world. I was kind of chained to the phone. I was helping people enroll into their 401ks. And I really started getting the bug for real estate investing. And so things started to ramp up in 2009. Probates, and the reason you're on this webinar, probates have been my top lead source and one of my specialties since 2011. Since July 2007, they've been my top lead source. And so since that time, I've been working with new and aspiring investors, intermediate investors, real estate agents, landlords, rehabbers, and I've done that since about 2014. So guys, the thing I want to share with you is if you master the art of acquiring deeply discounted real estate, you will never go hungry and you can truly become free. So whether the economy is booming or a recession hits in, learning how to get deeply discounted real estate is such a powerful skill. And mastering that skill comes down to two things, okay? Two things. So it all starts with doing the right marketing consistently and doing them to the right leads. So that's number one. And then once they respond, It's knowing how to have a powerful conversation that provides a lot of value, that provides solutions, and that really helps people. So Tangie is the master at providing leads and sharing what the top investors in the whole country are doing. She has a wealth of knowledge and some really cool stuff to share. So that's number one in the equation, and that's where things have to start, because without leads, and I see it all the time in talking with YouTube subscribers, and when I always get on the phone with people, I'm like, what is the number one problem you're having in your business? And it is like, I'm not talking with the right leads. I don't have enough leads. So without leads, who are we going to be talking with? Who are we going to be helping? So the second piece of the equation is, once we have the first piece of the equation, once we have these amazing, hot, motivated leads on the phone, it's knowing how to navigate those conversations, what to say, how to say it, how do we pre-qualify, how do we disqualify, how do we how to run appointments and do our analysis. And know one of the challenging things for somebody who's just getting started is to know whether something is truly a good deal. And if it is a good deal, how much of a good deal is it? How do we do that analysis? How do we do our offer? How do we do the contracts and the logistics of everything, and handling the 1,000 little one-off weird scenarios that pop up in real life that were not in that seminar and that were not in that course? And so that's where I come in. For the last 5 years or so, I've been blessed to help people on a one-on-one basis grow and scale their real estate wholesaling businesses mainly. I've worked with a lot of rehabbers and stuff like that as well. But and I take people by the hands. So if you guys are interested in something like that, it works really, really well. I work with just a few people at a time, and I love doing it. So Tangie has the information up on the screen right now. If you want to connect with me, I certainly don't want to sell you on anything. Definitely check out my website. I have some really good free content on there. If you subscribe, I'll send you maybe 1 or 2 helpful emails a week. And I share some good bonuses and boot camps and goodies with you, and some great resources. And if you want to learn a little bit more about my story, I have a cool little documentary that I filmed with my wife, just kind of how we made it in 2009, 2011 over the hump, and kind of our journey. And then on my website there and on the screen, if you want to connect with me further, probably where I put out the most content is on YouTube. I have over 70 videos on there. And then if you'd like to personally book a call with me where we kind of take a deep dive on your business, there's no strings attached, no sales pitch or anything like that. I offer a free 45-minute strategy call, and that's something that you can do, and we can take a look at if you want some hand-holding in this business for all of the stuff. Once you have these powerful leads, all the in-between type stuff, that's kind of where I come into play. So for all the people on this webinar, it's so nice to meet you. I'm super excited, and Tangie has some powerful stuff to share with you guys. So I'm super excited to be joining in on this with you. And so welcome to the webinar here. And I'm going to be taking notes. And Tangie, back over to you.
Okay, so Steve, thank you so much for everything. These are Steve's links that I posted up here. I hope everybody can see my screen here. These are Steve's links to learn more about him. You go here to subscribe to his website. Go ahead and take a picture of these slides, guys. And I'm also going to go ahead and email this to all of the attendees after the event. So I'm going to email you a copy of Steve's links for his Instagram, his Facebook, his YouTube, the book, watch the case studies, subscribe to his website, learn more about his story. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. If anybody has any questions, again, just click on Q&A and send your questions in during the whole entire presentation. I will be opening it up to Q&A during the end. Don't wait till the end for your questions. Go ahead and submit them now during the whole presentation so that I can answer them while you're thinking of them at the end. Send them in now. It's not going to interrupt me. I'm not going to be looking at that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Tangie Cousins. I've been with Foreclosures Daily since 2004. And since then, I have helped many investors, realtors, and attorneys grow their business and increase their revenues. I teach people how to use different types of leads that we have to offer. I also teach the do's and don'ts of marketing, what to say, what not to say, and how often to mail. So I've been with the company since 2004, so going on 16 years now, and I helped open the company. Who we are a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, and just your basic first-time home buyer. We've been in the business since 2004, and since then we have been the internet's #1 destination for the most detailed, timely, and accurate information. Steve can verify that. He can vouch for us. He's been a longtime subscriber for many, many years now. All of the people that we have in our webinars currently for the speakers, they currently use our data and are having great success with them, which is why we're bringing them on to share that with you. This is how we are different. All of our leads are weekly and fresh. If you're in Florida, the Foreclosures Daily leads, our Lis-Pendens and auctions are daily. But typically most of our leads are going to be weekly and fresh. Other companies are usually quarterly and they don't understand the importance of having fresh data. Most of our leads have property appraisers information on most of the data types that we offer for real estate. We do understand the importance of having fresh data. That's farm for real estate. And just so that you understand how important that is, if 300 people, let's say, file for divorce or probates in 1 week, we don't want to give you all 300 people if only 15 had property. So it's imperative that you understand how important it is that we are farm for real estate. Most companies will not do that. Here's some of the types of leads that we have to offer. We can do probates, pre-probates, absentee owners, inheritance, divorce, tax lates, auctions, Lis-Pendens, cash buyers, code violations, distressed homeowners, just some different types of leads we have to offer you. We also can do customized leads for you, just so you know. We can also customize your leads. For example, we can do absentee owners with high equity in a specific zip code for a certain, let's say, loan amount of 200,000 or above. So we can be real specific on our a la carte leads. Most of the things that I hear about when people talk about working probate leads is, I'm scared. I don't know how. I'm not sure if I can do it, or things like that. Those are things that people tell you is, hey, I'm scared to work this data. I've never done it before. I don't know the process. And what I teach people is, hey, it's okay that you don't know how. It's okay that you've never done it before. And it's okay that you don't know the process. We completely understand it. And I don't want you to go out and get trained on the processes of these types of leads that we're asking you to work. When you talk about working probate leads, people think, oh, I'm going to have to go out and get trained on probate leads or divorce leads before I can work them, or foreclosure leads. And here's what I teach people. Listen, as long as you can do your job, you can work any lead in the whole world. And what I mean by that, let me give you an example. If I'm your neighbor and let's say I'm outside and you see me outside and you know that, I just had a loved one pass, or I'm going through foreclosure, or I have an extra property, or maybe I'm going through a divorce, my situation really shouldn't matter. What matters is I'm a human being. I have a property and I may want to sell that property. Now, you're not going to come out and go take a $5,000 training class to come talk to me to figure out how to buy probate leads and the process of probates. No, you're going to come outside because you know me and say, hey, Tangie, are you guys wanting to sell your property? I mean, what are you guys going to do with your property? Like, I'm interested in possibly buying your house. You're not going to go take a $5,000 training class to learn that. You're going to come outside and you're going to talk to me. But for some reason, people are scared to mail probates and divorce because they're going through a situation, and people's fears prevent them to excel as an investor in your career because you're scared to approach people because you don't feel comfortable, because you don't know the process. At the end of the day, it's my process, not yours. If I'm the one going through a divorce or a foreclosure or a probate, you learning my job does you absolutely no good whatsoever. Because at the end of the day, you're still at the mercy of me to come out and find out where I'm in my probate process. When is the judge going to release my property? When am I going to to court next? So, I mean, your questions are all still for me, the homeowner. So all that training would have done you no good whatsoever. Here's what I teach people. Get trained on your own job: marketing, answering the phone, running comps, visiting the property, estimating the rehab cost, putting an offer in, and writing a contract. Those are things that you need to learn from a speaker like Steve. Those are things that you need to learn from speakers, is things how to do your job, not to do the homeowner's job. Because at the end of the day, it's their job to do that. And you're going to be at their mercy no matter what, how much training you have on their actual process of their probates. All you would have taught yourself at the end of the day is to go through your own probate when your parents pass, or to go through your own divorce if you get divorced. Now, Let's talk about some of the different types of leads we can offer you. Now, I'm going to get into marketing in just a little bit because that's really the guts of all this. At the end of the day, I can sell you leads all day long, but if you don't know what you're doing in marketing, you can absolutely botch this and it's not going to work for you. So I'm going to help you be successful at your job, okay? Probates is the legal process where in the estate of a decedent is administered. When a person dies, his or her estate must go through probate, which is in the process that's going to be overseen by the courts. Probates by far are some of the best leads nationwide you'll ever get. They have the most equity. They typically don't mind taking a discount and they're extremely motivated to sell their property. When people lose their parents, they're typically 50 and 60. I think we can all agree that they're not children anymore. They will almost always have their own home. And they will usually want to sell this property. And because they didn't buy this property, they've got no skin in the game. So they typically don't mind taking a discount. All probate timelines are different. A lot of people are scared that, one bad apple ruins it for the whole tree. You get one person that takes a year to go through probates because there's 10 beneficiaries involved and everybody's fighting all over the properties and the heirs are all fighting, right? That's not your normal probate, guys. Don't let that scare you. The average probate timeline only takes about 2 to 4 months, and I've seen them done way quicker than that. So the timelines on probates are not that long, and a lot of states are different, but check your local laws. But some people are telling me, and a lot of people are telling me in their states, they don't have to wait for it to completely close on the probates. They have to wait for the judge to sign off on the property and release it. Once they release the property, you may be able to buy that property relatively quickly, is from what I understand. But do check the laws in your local state and check with your local probate attorneys to answer those questions for you. Now, pre-probates. Everybody asks me, what's the difference between a probate and a pre-probate? Pre-probate, it's when a person who has died, a death certificate has been filed, and we have verified that they own real estate. The benefit of working a pre-probate is not only will you be first at the door, you may also reach people who inherit the property via trust, in which that case you can buy very quickly. Sometimes these people may be able to sell their property right away, and everybody's dying to get on this list. Literally. Sorry, guys. It's a bad joke of mine. Anyways, let's talk about the difference between a probate and a pre-probate. A probate is good because first of all, a pre-probate is good because, like I said, not only will you be first at the door, and sometimes they'll inherit the property via trust and they don't have to go through probate. That's a really good lead source. But a probate is good because if they do have to go through probate, and most people do, at least they filed and they may be closer to making a decision. So both leads are good for both reasons. Now, absentee owners. These are more a la carte leads that we offer, like absentee owner, free and clear, high equity. But an absentee owner is a non-owner occupied, a person who owns a property but does not live in their property full time. It's not their homesteaded property. Now, if you're in Florida, they may be a snowbird, right? They only live in their property part of the time. So a lot of people like to order out of state in Florida, and in some other states as well, because when the homeowner is out of state and this is not their homesteaded property, a lot of times they will not be able to go back and forth anymore. For example, if you live in Florida and you have people that are called snowbirds and they're living part of the time up north and part of the time here, the theory behind that is when parents get older, a lot of times they can't travel back and forth and they have to let one of the properties usually will go. Mom gets sick, she can't travel anymore. Of course, she wants to stay home and be with her kids and a lot of times not come back to Florida. So with that being said, out-of-state properties are really good for the owners. So you can order absentee owners that are in state. You can order absentee owners that are out of state, right? If you order absentee owners in state, out of state, you're dealing with more of a snowbird or a landlord situation. If you deal with them in state, you're dealing with more of an investor in a landlord situation. Both scenarios are really good. So I strongly encourage you to use both in-state and out-of-state for both reasons. You can have a tired landlord who is sick and tired of maintaining the property. So, absentee owners are very, very good. Now, the difference between our absentee owners and other companies out there, I don't want to name companies, guys, but a lot of companies out there will sell absentee owners. And what they're doing is they're buying absentee owners. They're buying absentee owners like 10 years ago, and they're selling them over and over and over and over to millions of other investors in the past 10 years. So by the time you get the data, it's so old and it's overworked that nobody wants to even talk to you anymore. With our absentee owners, they're brand spanking new, and you get them the very same week that you order them on Thursday, and they're all brand new, never been ordered before. So they're not recycled through and through and through over and over and over. We don't do that with our absentee owners. So they're very, very fresh. Now, an inherited lead. So an inherited lead is a person who inherits a property via a trust, and they do not have to put their property in probate. Now, could these be gotten on the pre-probate? Absolutely, because on the pre-probate, like I said, you reach the people who inherit the property via a trust as well. But the benefit of using our inherited list is not only is it going to be a person who inherits property via a trust, if it's in a state where we can get probates in, they're also going to include completed probates, because we consider a completed probate to be an inherited property as well. And also family deed transfers, a property that was transferred from one family member to the other in the amount of $0 will also be included in on that property. All right, so divorce. Illegal dissolution of a marriage by a court or other competent body. When the divorce is, I've never understood what that meant, or other competent body. Is that like, does that mean another person can do your divorce for you? It's always been a funny word to me when they actually put that in the legal jargon, another competent body. Anyways, when the divorce is filed, we will verify there is real estate owned, and we will provide you with the information within 1 week later. Again, it will be people who filed for a divorce who own property. Guys, I got a guy who uses our services, and he's been using us for the whole 16 years we've been open. And he's so gung-ho about using our leads, and he knows how important it is to get the leads as soon as they come out. So he tells me, anytime you get new data, I want to be the first client you call. I'm like, we can't do that. We're going to blast it out to all our clients and let everybody know when we get a new lead source. So you're just going to have to be watching, for those emails that we send you. Very important that you look at every email we send you, because when we get a new list, the owner blasts it out immediately to let you guys know, hey, we've got a new list. Well, he was been watching for this email, right? He got this email saying, hey, Joe, we got divorce leads, So he was like one of our first subscribers for divorce leads. And this was probably 10, 12 years ago. He subscribed to our divorce leads. I called him up a few months later because it was time to renew his probates. I'm like, hey, Joe, how's the divorce leads going? He's like, Tangie, the divorce leads are great. I mean, it's kind of a bittersweet relationship I got going on with them. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I got a couple of guys texting me and threatening to beat my butt. I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm like, well, tell me what you're doing with your mailing. He's like, well, I'm sending the mailers out to, Mrs. Smith and, Mrs. Jones and Mom. I'm like, well, why are you addressing the women? I'm like, it's a divorce lead. They just literally filed for divorce 1 week ago. So clearly your mailers should say Mr. and Mrs. Smith. These people are still married. He's like, well, I figured they were going to get everything, right? I was like, oh, good God almighty. You can't do that. You need to address your envelope as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I'm thinking, geez, were you looking for a date or were you looking for a property? I was like, then I got to thinking, I'm like, God, what a good way to, no, I'm just kidding. Anyways, don't do that, you guys. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, these people just filed for divorce literally 1 week ago. So under no circumstances do you mail just the ladies or just the guys, okay? They're probably still living in the same household. So definitely don't do that, guys, okay? So the divorce leads we give you 1 week later after we verify there's real estate attached. Now, we also had Lis-Pendens. Excuse me for a moment, I've got to have a drink. When a homeowner stops making payments on a mortgage, the mortgage has a specific procedure it must follow to take the property back. This procedure will differ according to the state and county in which the property is located. Now, if a lender finds that a homeowner is in default on their mortgage and their payment, the two parties are unable to resolve the issue of the outstanding debt, then the plaintiff has the right to file a lawsuit known as the Lis-Pendens against the homeowner to start the proceedings to take the property back, okay? Now, once the Lis-Pendens has been recorded and filed, we try to get it relatively quickly, okay? The company is nationwide, but I always use Florida as an example because that's where I reside. So if you're in Florida, you're gonna get daily Lis-Pendens, okay? If you're outside of Florida, you're gonna get probably weekly Lis-Pendens, okay? Daily, weekly, monthly, either way, you're gonna get the Lis-Pendens once it's filed and recorded. Now, the benefit of using a pre-foreclosure is when somebody stops making payments on their mortgage more than 90 days, that default gets filed against them, and they've got quite a while before they'll actually get an auction date. It's usually once they're 90 days or more late, the Lis-Pendens gets filed, and then usually the auction doesn't get slapped on them for about 6 months afterwards, and sometimes even a year. So you guys got plenty of time to go after these guys and try to do maybe some sort of a loan modification, subject to, and if you don't know what a subject to is, it's basically taking over the deed of the property The mortgage stays in the homeowner's name and you basically take over the payments and everything. So, I mean, you can also do a short sale, which where you negotiate the extra mortgage down with the bank, with the loss mitigators. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do with a pre-foreclosure. But the best leads we have, guys, are probate and pre-probate, hands down all day, okay? Now, here's how the leads can help you if you're an investor. If you're an investor, these leads can help you get properties for wholesale prices. If you're a realtor, you can gain listings, the investors in personal investing. In other words, listen, if you're a realtor, not only are you going to gain listings, but this is going to help you help your investors that come to you to buy properties at wholesale prices. You now will have a list to resort back to find properties in their specific area that they're looking in, right? And it also will help you as your personal investing if you're a realtor. Now, if you're an attorney, this will help you gain business for your law firm and personal investing, especially pre-probates. Because if you're a realtor or an attorney, pre-probates can help you out a lot. Number one, when you're a realtor, you always have to worry about the property being listed with another realtor, right? So you're having to look all these up before you're allowed to market to them. And I know that, right? So a pre-probate would be pretty good for you because it's a pretty good bet that they don't already have it listed. Now, if you're an attorney, this can benefit your business big time on a pre-probate, because if you're an acting attorney on probate law, then you're going to be able to reach out to these pre-probates and gain probates for your business. And you can be the acting attorney on the probate case as well as the pre-foreclosures. Now, if you're a mortgage broker, this can help you get refinances and loan modifications and also help you with your personal investing. If you're a first-time home buyer, people buy our leads all the time just to buy one property for them and their family at a cheaply discounted rate. Now, go ahead and take a picture of this slide, guys. This is the marketing slide. We recommend a 6-month mailing campaign, at least 4 to 6 times over the next 6 months. Now, I talked to several people today. Your marketing budget may be very small. You might not have the funds. People go out and they spend all this money on training and then they don't leave themselves any money for leads. They're rubbing 2 nickels together to try to get enough money to pay for leads once they're done training and paying for training. And I get it. You got to have the training, right, guys? You got to know your job before you can go after the leads. However, you have to invest money in leads. If you don't buy leads, you don't get data. It's as simple as that. You don't get leads. You don't get leads, you don't get houses. You don't get houses, you get no deals. You're not an investor, okay? You have to save money for marketing and you have to save money for leads. Now, it's imperative that you understand this 4 to 6 step mailing campaign. If you are an investor and your marketing budget only allows you to do a 3-step mailing campaign, what do you do? Now, I used October, November, December, January, February, and March as examples here. Don't wait till October to do your marketing. I just used that as an example. I actually had somebody contact me after a webinar one day, like a week later, and say, hey, in your webinar, you said to start marketing in October. He's like, it's only July. I'm like, you don't need to wait till October to market. This is just examples of when I did this webinar. I just use these as examples, these months. So we're in September. You want to mail on September 15th? Here's what you're going to do. Let's use October, for example. You're going to mail October, November. You're going to skip December and mail January. See, what I did there is I turned a 3-step mailing campaign into 4 months. You want to try to stretch it out as long as you can. Why? Because it's just as important to be first as it is to be last, okay? You want to be first and you want to be last in your marketing. Now, a 4-step mailing campaign. October, November, December, skip January, and mail February. And I just turned that 4-step campaign into a 5-month campaign. Now, if you can do a 5-step campaign, you want to do October, November, December, January. See how I keep them together as long as I can? Skip February and mail in March. And you've now turned this into a 6-month mailing campaign. Now, the cream of the crop, and is exactly what we recommend, okay, a 6-step mailing campaign. Every single month for 6 months straight without skipping any months. And that's what we highly recommend, is a 6-step mailing campaign for 6 months straight. Why? Because consistency in marketing is key. Consistency and patience is key in marketing. The early bird gets the worm, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. They didn't invent that word for nothing. They did not invent that phrase for nothing, guys. It's true. You want to be first, you want to be last. Let me tell you why. John gets a list. He swears up and down he's going to do a 4 to 6-step mailing campaign. He tries it for 2 weeks, didn't work for him, he quit mailing. He never mailed again. Susie gets a list. She promises she's going to do a 4 to 6 step mailing campaign. She tries it 3 times, didn't work for her in the last 3 weeks, so she didn't do it again. Do you know how many people will buy a list and fizzle out after 1 mailing? And just they're promised this world in the beginning, guys. When they're hot to trot, they're going to promise, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. They mail for 1 week and they just stop because they get busy doing something else, and something else turned their head and they're like, oh, I like that better. So what happens is these leads just sit, right? Nobody's marketing to them. And then you get in there and you mail 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to pick up all that low hanging fruit and scoop it all up and make a lot of money off of the mailings that nobody else wanted to do because you were consistent and you were patient, okay? Now, commercial, you want to be like that commercial. I'm sure, I mean, let's use Morgan & Morgan, for example. Everybody probably knows Morgan & Morgan. Why? Because they're all over the place. They're all over billboards. They're on TV. They're on the radio. They're absolutely everywhere you go. You hear about these attorneys, right? And the reason why is because they understand that consistency in marketing is key. So they want to reach you all over. And this is the same thing I'm going to teach you later on in the webinar is surrounding your seller. You want to surround your seller, okay? If you don't do it, somebody else is going to. You don't know how many times I've heard this past month. Well, I'm just going to cold call. I'm just going to mail. Well, I'm just doing this, or I'm just doing driving for dollars. Why are you picking one marketing channel? Why would you purchase a list and just pick one marketing channel and only allow yourself this much when you can have the whole pie? Because you know what? Somebody else is going to have that whole pie if you don't. So when you get a list, you want to surround your seller in all aspects, okay? You want to mail. Okay, you want to skip trace the list. You want to, and by the way, when you skip trace, you should be getting phones and emails. Okay, you want to mail, you want to skip trace, you want to call, you want to text their cell phone, call their home phone, leave a voicemail, mail their property, drive for dollars, Facebook them, reach out to their family members. You want to surround your seller in every single way that you possibly can. When you get done using your list, you want to say that you've done every single thing that you possibly could to squeeze every bit of juice out of that lead, okay? Because if you use your lead and you pick one marketing channel, what do you think is going to happen to all the people that you cold called and didn't get a hold of? Joe over here, who's consistent and understands consistency and patience, is going to come in and reap all that low-hanging fruit that you left laying there on the table because you didn't want to do direct mail. Listen, if I told you that I could get you direct mail done for 38 to 42 cents each, that's with postage, would you do it? Of course you would do it. If I give you 15 leads, it's going to cost you what? $6 to mail them, or $3.84, or whatever it is. Let me break it down to the ridiculousness. Let's say you got 15 probate leads this week, right? It's a small number, right? When you're working probate leads, you never get more than 25 leads a week per county. And the reason why there's a cap, first of all, we have to know what to charge. Second of all, working lower amounts, which you're spending less money on marketing, you're spending less money on skip trading, but you're using a list that's going to yield you much bigger return. So if I give you, let's say, 24 leads this week, and I get you hooked up with a company that'll do 38 cents marketing, it's going to cost you $9.12 to mail your list this week. If you can't come up with $9, get out of the business, okay? Because you have to put into this business what you want to get out of it, okay? So consistency in marketing is absolute key, okay? So these are the types of leads you need to market for 6 months. Some people say, do I need to market to all of my leads for 6 months? No, of course not, guys. There are certain leads you don't need to market to for 6 months, okay? No. I'm going to go over the leads that you need to market to for 6 months. Think of it this way. Anything that's going through a process, that's who you want to market to for 6 months, okay? Now, if you're dealing with probate, pre-probate, divorce, inheritance, Lis-Pendens, code violation, anything that's going through a process, you want to market to them during that process. So you need to figure out how long does the process usually take for probates. Could take 2 months, could take 4, could take 6, could be a year, right? But those are not your typical cases. How long could a divorce take, right? People could do divorces in 6 months if there's nothing going on, and it's like non-contested. Now, an inheritance, that might be a list you can market to a longer time too, because they're going through certain processes as well. If they've inherited property, they may want to fix it up and clean it up before they sell it. And hopefully you're going to market to them and tell them all the reasons why they don't need to, right? Lis-Pendens, that could take 6 months, a year. So you're going to be marketing to these people for as long as they're going through their possible process. Now, some people clearly, you might market to some people for 6 months, and out of your 800 leads, maybe 200 are gone and null. And you won't know when you have to start marketing to them. That's why you need to do it 6 months straight, guys, because you want to get the best that you can absolutely get out of this list and squeeze it as much as you possibly can to get every little wholesale deal out of this that you can. If you're wholesaling, buying, fixing, flipping, renting to hold for that residual income, whatever you're doing, you want to market to them a long period of time and reach out to that seller in all areas, okay? We're going to go at the end of the slide. I'm going to show you a bunch of different links of the companies that I do recommend that you use. Now, if you have a speaker, obviously you want to use their recommendations. I just put the slides together for you to give you ideas of companies that will do it for you pretty cheaply, okay? But again, if you have your own speaker, you need to use their recommendations. Now, some unique marketing techniques. Using unique marketing techniques will help ensure that your mail gets opened, okay? Unique marketing techniques like different size and different shaped envelopes. I know you guys have been hearing this for years, but I've got a few things to add on here that's really gonna help you guys. So different size and different shaped envelopes, such as wedding invitations, birthday cards. You can also do colored letters. Guys, yellow letters still works today. Yellow letters have been proven, tested, and tried, and actually still work really good today. Handwritten envelopes. You can use handwritten envelopes. They work really good, guys. And the open rates are really great with the handwritten envelopes. People get really good responses with those. Now, let's go back to the handwritten envelopes for a second. I want to talk about that. I have some investors, and they're pretty creative, actually. I have one investor, he actually has an older lady, and she handwrites his envelopes because she has that shaky handwriting. So he really likes it because when she writes the addresses on his envelopes and she addresses them, it's all shaky looking. So people like, oh gosh, this is kind of messy, you know, so they want to open it. I have another guy, he uses school-age children to color little stick people and little houses and little stick doggies on the envelopes. And he has them color on his envelopes for him. As like a class project or something, or you could have your nieces and your nephews do it, but unique things like that is going to get your mail opened, okay? Now, also, handwritten letters. Guys, handwritten letters are really good with things like probates. Anytime you mail somebody who's in an emotional state because they just had something very traumatic happen in their life, a handwritten envelope and a handwritten letter is really a personal touch. Now, we do have there's a company out there I can recommend. They use handwritten font, so it makes your letter look handwritten, and they'll only charge like 64 cents with postage for the letters, and everybody else charges like $1 to $1.10 for that handwritten letter to have a handwritten font that looks handwritten. Special markings and certain statements on your envelope is really key. So like if you're going to seal your envelope and you want to be different than the average Joe, let's say that you took the envelope and you flipped it over and you wrote the word cash involved on the back of the envelope. Could you imagine getting an envelope in the mail and you flip it over and it says cash involved? Would you throw it away? I wouldn't throw it away. I don't think anybody's going to throw that away, guys. I think everybody's going to open that, right? So you can also, if you're not comfortable with that, you can throw a penny in there. I mean, you're going to be offering them cash offer. Whether you wholesale, whether you fix, you flip, you buy, whatever. You're going to offer a cash offer because even if you wholesale it to somebody else, the person that buys it is going to buy cash. He's going to probably pay cash for the property, right? So you're not lying when you're saying cash involved. I mean, because you are offering them a cash offer. I mean, if it really bothers you, like I said, throw a penny in there. You can do symbols like dollar signs and write the word involved. That way they know, why is there dollar signs in the back of this envelope, handwritten dollar signs? That's kind of weird, you know? So it's kind of an odd piece of mail to get. So when people see that, they're gonna open the mail. And when you're doing certain things like this, you really only need to worry about this with things like foreclosures, because the national average response rate to foreclosure industry is only 1.5%, right, of your open mail rate, and people returning your calls and actually open your mail. The national average response rate is 1.5%. These things will get your mail open to these people who are going through foreclosure. I can assure you. Now, I have other people that do different things. Lumpy mail. They'll take one of those squishy balls. They don't weigh much, and they'll bulk out the envelope and they'll stick one of those little squishy balls in there. You can even buy the mini squishy balls. I got a guy who uses those little China doll things. They're like the little teeny stick China. I think you get it from the Chinese restaurants or I can't remember what restaurant has them, but they give you those little teeny dolls, and they don't weigh anything, guys. And he buys them by the boxes of millions, and he has them shipped to his house. He has like thousands and thousands of them shipped to his house, and he sticks one of those in every single envelope, and the envelope feels a little different, so people open it to see what's inside. And it barely cost him, not even like 2 pennies or something, or a penny to send it. Because when I say a penny, I mean he barely pays anything for these, so he can get boxes of thousands of them for like pennies on the dollar. It's really cheap. So there's a lot of different things you can do in your mail. I have people use FedEx envelopes. There's all kinds of different things. Now, I've got some postcards that I've been working with lately that I think that are really good. And I'm going to show you some of these postcards in the end. And by the way, when you purchase our list, there's so many bonuses that you get. It's ridiculous what we offer you. I'm going to tell you the bonuses that you do get when you buy leads. Because I speak, I'm going to give you guys a lot of bonuses. You'll get the 2 postcards that I recommend. You'll get the letter. You'll get all kinds of different things. You'll get a copy of the 6-step mailing campaign, the 6-touch campaign, stuff like that. Guys, I want to know if anybody can read this letter. Could you imagine if you were like, 50, 60 years old, 70 years old, whatever, how old? Let's say your eyesight's, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 47. I can't see very well anymore. My eyesight's been terrible. I've been wearing glasses all my life, but I just can't. My eyesight's just going and going. But anyways, I can't imagine getting a letter in my mailbox wrote out like this, or a card, or an index card, or a postcard, or anything. Dear Mrs. Story, selling your house has never been easier. As discussed, guys, before we go any further, I want to tell you what happened. I had a client that asked me to critique his mailing. And I do have his permission to use this, by the way. And he sent me his 4-step mailing campaign. I think it was 4-step. Yeah. And this is an order, okay? So it was absolutely terrible. And I told him, I said, if you want my honest opinion, I think you should throw all of them away. And here's why. Dear Mrs. Story, selling your house has never been easier. As discussed, I can pay cash for your home. I can pay cash for your house and pocket all the money. No realty commissions. Well, first of all, what's one of the first things you see wrong with this letter? Number 1, you can't read it, okay? It looks like it's all mushed together. I don't know why anybody would use this font. It needs to be something like Arial. If you're going to print, use Arial. If you're going to use a handwritten font, you can't use this font. Nobody can read it. Number 2, as discussed. Well, first of all, this is your first mailing piece. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you've never talked to this person. So there's no as discussed. So that's the first thing wrong with the 1-step one, right? The second one, dear Miss Smith, I'm still interested in buying your house. As you know, no, she doesn't know. I can pay cash, close quickly, and you don't have to pay a real estate commission when you sell your house. Again, still can't read it. He references something that she previously knew, which she may not have knew. They haven't spoke, right? She's not going to remember the first mailing. Now, third one. Dear Miss Story, quickly selling your house can take away the strain of showing I don't even know what that says. A lot of people you don't know. Guys, this person doesn't know that guy either. So, I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Showing your property to a lot of people you don't know. So call me as if you know this person. So these are things that you don't want to do. You've got to put yourself in these people's situation. When you mail a letter to somebody, think about their situation. Okay, are they in probate? Are they going through a divorce? What are they going through? What would you want to read if that was you opening that mail? Would you want to read something like this? Dear Miss Story, are you still interested in selling your house? Well, first of all, nobody said she was interested to begin with, right? I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with these marketing. I'm not going to pick on it too much, but it's terrible, guys. So here's what I recommended, okay? If you're going to write a letter, write something in a font that they can understand and read clearly, that they don't have to struggle to read it because they're just going to get upset and throw it away. Now, think about their situation that they're going through, okay? And the situation they're going through is they have a property that got left to them by their parents because their parents passed, and they also have another mortgage to pay if it's not paid off. They have another grass to cut. They have taxes to pay, insurance to pay, a lawn to take care of. They have the house to take care of, full of somebody else's stuff that they had for 60 years. And they're sitting there going, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, they have no idea. And by the way, they don't know they can sell this house to you now. Even if they've inherited it and they don't have to go through probates, they don't know they can sell it to you now. You know why? Because in their minds, they have to change out the old horse and buggy wallpaper that's in the kitchen, change out the paneling walls, floors, whatever. They think they have to go through and refurbish the whole house before it's ever going to be worth being on the market, right? Then they get your letter. Hey, the reason I'm contacting you is I understand there may be a property for sale. If there is real estate for sale, I would like to buy your property. I can close fast, cash as is in less than 30 days. You can even leave the unwanted items in your house. You don't even have to clean, update, rehab, repair the property. I will buy the property just the way that it is. Oh, and by the way, if this sounds like something you're interested in, please contact me back immediately. Now listen, if you're a realtor, I've got a realtor letter for you too. But if you're sending it to pre-probate, I had a guy throw in one sentence in the bottom of this letter, and it yielded him 5 wholesale deals in 3 weeks. Do you want to know the sentence? He said, oh, and by the way, I can even help you pay for your probates if you need some financial assistance. He hooked himself up with a local attorney, okay? Attorney for probate. He called him up on the phone and said, look, I'm using probate and pre-probate, and I got all these people in pre-probate that cannot afford to do the probates. And they can't even afford to pay the mortgage, for God's sakes. How are they going to afford $2,000 for the probates or whatever it cost? In his situation, in his county, he said they only charged $1,500. So he hooked himself up with an attorney and he said, look, I'll give you all these probate leads that don't have the money to file probate. I'll pay you as an attorney to file their probate if you do it cheap, fast, for a one-time flat rate fee and quick. And she said, okay, I'll do it for $1,500. You only have to put $750 down. You're going to pay the filing fees and the processing fees. And then once the judge signs off on the property, I want the other $750. Bam. He got 5 wholesale deals in 3 weeks by adding that sentence. Oh, and by the way, I can even help you pay for your probates if you need some financial assistance. So guys, that's another strategy. He wrote it in the contract, contingent upon the close of the probate, right? But sometimes contracts don't hold up, do they? What do you do then? What do you do when they weasel their way out of the contract and try to sell the property to somebody else for a lot more money after you spent all your time and money paying for that property? What you do is you go down to the courthouse and you file, and everybody's county is different, so check your local county and see how it works in your area. I'm just giving advice and telling you what happened with him. He went down to his local courthouse and he filed what they call a memorandum of interest, which is also known as an affidavit of interest against the property, so that they could not sell the property without him. It clouds the title, I guess, or something. Anyways, that's what he did. Now, let's move on to, I thought I had I do have a realtor letter. Do's and don'ts of marketing. Never talk about their unfortunate situation. Why? Because you're gonna make them mad. You're gonna make them mad, and they're gonna make a phone call to you just to scream at you and hang up on you. Solutions. I said that, right? But then I told you to put in the bottom of the pre-probate letters, oh, I can even help you pay for I'm just telling you what another investor did, and it worked really well for him. But during your whole letter, don't start your letter with my deepest condolences on your recent passing. My wife and I are currently interested in reaping the benefits of having investment property and residual income for the rest of our retirement. Can we buy your property? I actually had a guy start a letter that way. He completely gave them his deepest condolences and sympathy, told him that his wife and him were marketing to the area because they are interested in adding properties to their investor portfolio for their retirement. I just couldn't believe it. You don't want to ever talk about somebody's unfortunate situation in your marketing, and you certainly don't want to talk about your fortunate situation. What you want to do is you want to offer solutions, overcome fears, address their concerns, and fix their problem. And guess what, guys? Our letter did just that. I understand there may be a property for sale. I'm not saying there is. I said may. If there is real estate for sale, I'd like to buy your property. By the way, I can close fast, cash as is in less than 30 days. You can even leave the unwanted items in the house. Remember, guys, they're sitting there going, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this stuff, right? You're fixing all their problems. You're helping them. You're settling all their worries right here in one letter. You don't even have to clean, update, rehab, or repair the property. I'll buy it the way it is. And then next thing you know, a wife looks at the husband, honey, this guy says that we don't have to do anything. He'll just buy it the way it is. We can just walk through with a laundry basket and a couple of boxes and just pick out, you know, the stuff that we want, that we just can't live without, and just let the house go the way it is. Guys, it doesn't get any better than that. So if you're going to write a letter, make it count, okay? Now, do's and don'ts of marketing: never talk about their unfortunate situations, solutions, overcome fears, address their concerns, fix their problems. Already went over that. Realtor letter, if you're a realtor. Now, I would recommend, instead of doing to the family members of John Smith, this is an older slide right here, I now recommend just doing to the Smith family. Don't even do it to the family members, just do it to the Smith family, okay? Because you want to do a very generic letter, especially if you're a realtor, just a very generic letter like you're marketing to the whole neighborhood, you know, to the Smith family. Hi, my name is Jane Doe. I'm a local realtor with RE/MAX. I would like to help you sell your property at 2000 Smith Avenue. If you would like to sell the property or just know the value for free, ladies, gentlemen, realtors, brokers, if you are reading this or listening to this right now, that sentence right there, I can let you know the value of your property for free. Every single person who loses a parent that has a property wants to know what it's worth. So you have a huge advantage over anybody else because you can offer to help them know the value of the property for free. And that's what's going to spark up the call for you. And when you get the call, you know, give them what you promised. Tell them the value of their property, but let them know that by going through an investor that's interested in buying their property now for cash can help them alleviate all of those fees for holding in the property for a year, having to pay taxes, mortgage insurance, whatever it is they have to pay. So you can talk to them as a realtor, do what you promised, tell them what it's worth, but then let them know that you have some local investors that also may be interested in the property as well. This is going to get your foot in the door. And that's the bottom line in your marketing. Your job is just to get your foot in the door. It's like that. It's like that guy that wanted a job at Google. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I think it was Google. God, there was thousands and thousands and thousands of applicants going after the same job. So what he did is he mailed Google a shoe, the marketing department of Google, and said, hey, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. They hired him on the spot immediately over thousands and thousands of other overqualified applicants for that job. And he was not the most qualified candidate. They hired him because he mailed them the shoe and said he wanted to get his foot in the door. So you have to think outside the box, guys. Okay, now, sorry guys, 3-touch campaign. I got a guy here's a good campaign a guy uses. He can only do a 3-step. So here's what he does, guys. He takes a card on his 3-step mailing campaign. This is really cool. On the first card, he sticks it in a small envelope and just says, I'm interested in the property on whatever street. And he puts the street, of course. If you're interested in selling, call me. That's all he says. That's it. Just 2 little lines. Second touch. Same thing, small card in the envelope. I sent you a letter about a month ago. I love that. Everybody says, Tangie, if I use the same marketing piece over and over and over, where do I put my second letter versus my third letter versus my fourth? What's wrong with using the same one and just putting, hey, I sent you a letter about a month ago expressing interest in the property. Have you considered selling yet? See, I like this, right? It's simple, it's basic, it's direct, it's right to the point. And he references the fact that he previously sent him a letter. Now, I don't recommend sending the same thing 6 times. I mean, I do recommend switching it up, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. I'm going to show you some postcards that I recommend that are really, really nice, you guys. His 3rd touch campaign. He sends a postcard this time and actually introduces himself as a local investing company purchasing properties in a few select areas. He completely changes it up from just a regular Joe wanting to buy in the neighborhood to a local investing company purchasing properties in a few select areas. So whoever he didn't pick up on the first couple of marketing, he may pick up on the 3rd by now announcing he's a company, not just an individual. So, I mean, this campaign worked really good for him. He said he's getting a 10% response rate from this. So I'm going to skip a few slides here because I know time's cutting short. We're going to have to open it up for Q&A, but listen, there are a lot of exit strategies going on today, guys, that are working really, really well right now in the market. Wholesaling is the biggest exit strategy out there today. Quickly flipping a contract to an investor for quick cash without extending any of your own money. That is the hugest, biggest exit strategy today is wholesaling. Everybody and their brother wants to be a wholesaler. But the problem is they're all new investors that want to be a wholesaler because they don't have any money So they don't want to extend any of their own cash, and they want to flip it to the person that's the cash buyer buying all the properties. Couple of things real quick. Do not soil your local RIA groups with bringing these cash buyers a deal and not leaving enough meat on the bone. That's the biggest problem today, is you guys as wholesalers are analyzing these properties, and you're not getting trained by your speaker on how to analyze the estimate rehab and repair costs of these properties. You will take a property that's worth $150,000 and you will tell an investor it only needs $10,000 of lipstick. Now you get the guy to go to the house, and you know what he sees? He finds out it needs a new roof. There's 10 grand right there. Needs a new kitchen. There's another 5 to 10 grand right there. Needs a new tub, toilet, shower. There's another 4 or 5 grand. And they walk out of there and they come back and tell you, hey, it needs $35,000 of repair. You have just ruined your first time relationship with your cash buyer and your local RIA. And you know what? He's going to talk to John, and John's going to talk to the other cash buyer, Jim, and he's going to talk to his friend Chris. Now you've just ruined your reputation at the RIA. You can't go there with properties anymore. Because why? Because you've just ruined your relationship. So you have to know how to estimate correct rehab and repair values of properties. Because if you don't, you're going to ruin your relationship with your cash buyers. And then everybody always tells me, oh, I got to get cash buyers. I can't buy a list till I get cash buyers. Listen, go get the properties under contract. You have 30 days to sell it. Post them on all the Facebook groups. Go to your local RIAs, stand up at the RIAs and tell them you have a property. Bam, you've just gained 100 cash buyers in a day by going to all the local Facebook groups, posting that you have a property, going to your local RIAs, saying that you have a property. You can build your cash buyers list in minutes. Cash buyers, where are you at? I got a house in Tampa, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area, blah, 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 blah. Needs $20,000 of rehab repair. And don't be too greedy. Don't try and make more than the cash buyer, because they don't like it. They just don't like it. And I know that a lot of you guys feel it's none of their business what you're going to make, and why should they care if you're going to make more, if they're going to make money too? Guys, they do. They do care. That's the bottom line. Okay. So when you flip a property to another investor that's going to be extending his next 6 month rehabbing that property that you gave to him, and he finds out you made 40 and he's only going to make 30, that's going to make him mad. Don't do that. Okay. Just start your relationship off with these cash buyers. Very good. Hey, if you don't know what you're doing, walk up to them and say, hey, will you split the deal with me? I'll give you 50-50 if you help me out on this one, because I don't know what I'm doing. You know, a lot of people would be more than happy to do that. I did a meeting a couple weeks ago, and I stood everybody up in the room that had no idea what they're doing. I said, stand up if you don't have any idea what you're doing. I had like 20 people stand up in the room out of 60. I said, sit down. And then I said, all right, stand up if you're a seasoned investor, you have cash to buy properties, and you need people to come to you with properties. And I had 4 people stand up. And I told everybody in the room, I said, look at these people standing up right now. Here's your cash buyers. Here's your people who will partner with you. Here's your people that will help you. And the 4 people standing up, I said, raise your hand out of the 4 people standing up if you would like to split a deal with the person in this room that brings you a property. Would you split 50-50 just by giving them your knowledge? And every one of them raised their hands. You would not believe what these people will do for you at these Facebook groups and RIA meetings. You could go on Facebook and ask for a contract and bam, have it in 2 seconds flat. You could have 50 people emailing you their contracts that they use. You have no idea the resources that are right at your fingertips. All right, retailing. Retail buyers are coming back into the market because of the historically low mortgage rates. But that's going up, guys. You know what our economy is like right now. Price appreciation and the tax credits that were being offered, as well as the improving economic conditions. Lease option to buy. I got a guy who literally does this for a living, okay? His name's Larry Harbaugh, and he is huge with lease option to buy. Many would-be buyers currently have poor credit, but they have money. They have lots of money, guys. A lot of these young kids these days don't have any credit whatsoever, but they're smart and they're getting smarter. They're working, they're saving their money, they're being taught better, but they might have a 560 credit beacon score, right? And you got a house, right? You offer that young couple a house with the lease with the option to buy. You know that most people that will do the lease with the option to buy, they don't stay in your property more than 2 or 3 years. They stay in your property thinking that they're going to buy it. And what happens is in the next few years, their credit's going to get better and better and better. And now they're ready to move out of your house. But the $10,000 they put down, you get to keep because you did a lease with the option to buy. Many would-be buyers currently have poor credit, but have money down for a down payment, option consideration, and want a nice home to live in. This strategy works really well, and you can flip that house like this over and over and over and over and over. And in the next 10 years, you will have made $30,000 on your property just from people putting down payments on it while somebody else is paying it off in the meantime every single month. So you're making money every month for your payment towards the property, and you get to keep the 10 grand when they walk away. And that's going to happen over and over and over. And that's a great exit strategy. It'll give you a lot of good residual income. Rental. If you buy right over the long term, this is a great cash flowing strategy where you can reap the annualized benefits and returns of up to 20% year and more. So go ahead and read the testimonial, guys. This lady went to a local RIA event and she won a month of free probate leads. She won one time, and she never, ever invested in her life. She just started going to the local RIA clubs. She bought one property through an MLS, through a realtor. And that's the only time she ever invested. With everything that I taught her and that we taught her as a company, she turned around and she got a property within 1 month of using our list. Sometimes it happens quick, sometimes it doesn't. And she took that property and she had her renter rent it for 1 year. And then in less than a year, he wanted to buy the property. She sold it to him to 1031 exchange. She turned it into 2 more investment homes. Now she's sitting on 5 probate houses in less than a year and a half. She's got like 5 probate properties. Her name is Amanda Young. Feel free to reach out to her. She is a huge testimonial of ours. And I literally taught her from the ground up. She'd never even sent a letter before in her life until I taught her to do this. And she had great results from it. Now, like I said, if you have a speaker, do your speaker recommendations on where you should use things as far as lists are concerned. Like, here's some skip tracing services. Skipright.com. Skipright.com, they will actually do your skip tracing for you. Literally for 15 cents, they will skip trace your list for you. And they will yield back 5 to 10 phone numbers. And they will email, and it will also give you 5 emails from what I understand. So the first 3 on here are the same. Not the same company, guys, but they'll all do it for around 15 cents. Skipright.com, literally, if you email Ed Fox, it's data@skipright.com. And if you email him, I think he actually has a website now. It's www.skipright.com. They'll skip trace your list for you for 15 cents. They'll yield you back 5 to 10 phone numbers and 5 emails. Now, ididata.com. ididata.com, if you mention our name and email Tim Shannon at tshannon@ididata.com and you mention my name, he'll give it to you for 15 cents, guys. And if you want, like let's say you're using the pre-probates, you can pay a little extra and get the surrounding family members in the area and he'll skip trace them for you too. Now, if you go to skiptracelist.com, they'll do the same thing for you guys. In americantraders.com, they're very expensive, but they find 65% of all of the ones you could not find with the other 3. 65%. So these are just some companies that we kind of put together for you. You can reach out to them, but like I said, if you have a speaker and they have their own, reach out to theirs. Now, down bottom is some free skip tracing. TruePeopleSearch.com. Guys, that's so awesome. They're pretty accurate. From what I understand, TruePeopleSearch.com is pretty accurate. I have a lot of people using that because they can't afford a skip tracing service, and it's free and it's very, very accurate. Now, if you go to gobigprinting.com/Tangie, they will do cheap mailings for you for literally 38 to 42 cents. They'll do those postcards that I talked to you about. I think there's a postcard on one of the apps people use for driving for dollars. Anyways, it skipped my mind. I don't want to mention any names, but there's a couple of apps you can use for driving for dollars, and they will mail a postcard for you. You will get out of your car, take a picture of the property, and they will mail a postcard right to the house with a picture of the person's house that you took. And that they charge like 99 cents for that postcard. You can get it done through Go Big Printing for 42 cents just by having that code. Now, you also get A3 marketing letters. They actually handwrite your letters, actually handwrite them for you. They're like $1 a lead with postage or somewhere around there. But if you use GoBigPrinting.com, they have a handwritten font, and they'll do the same thing for 64 cents too. But A3 Marketing actually handwrites them for you. Click to Mail, that's another one. There's also a really good virtual assistant company. I just talked to her recently. I think her virtual assistants are from South Florida, and I think she said, was it Venezuela or? Anyways, wherever they are, guys, their English is extremely well, so they're very fluent in English, but they're also bilingual, so they can actually talk both. So you should reach out to Robin Crawley, and she's at RoluBusinessSolutions.com. And she has many virtual assistants, and you can hire part-time, you can hire full-time, and they do that to suit your needs. And by the way, if you can't skip trace your list, you can go to her and she'll skip trace them for you for 10% extra, I think she said. So guys, the thought process behind all of this, let me go over this first. Email blasting. Did you know that Gmail now has Gmass? I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but Gmail now has Gmass. And they'll email blast like 2,000 people for you for a few bucks. It's really cheap. Ringless voicemails. I understand they're illegal in Florida from what I'm hearing. From what somebody said that they're not legal in Florida to do ringless voicemails anymore. But we are nationwide, so I'm gonna still offer it. We have a lot of companies on here that will do Just Deliver It. If you go to justdeliverit.net, they're only 1 to 3 cents, and they'll give you 50 free drops. And Drop Cowboy is also a good one. And getrvmleads.com, I got them talked down to 5 cents a drop, and they'll give you 500 drops for free. Excuse me, guys. Live operators. You've got Pat Live, call Porter, answer first. And then, of course, your website creation, you can do oncarrot.com. But listen, here's what you want to do. Surround your seller. You go to skipright.com, ididata.com, skip trace list, wherever you skip trace it. You get their phone numbers, you get their emails. You want to call them, you want to text them, you want to call their home, their cell, you want to Facebook them, you want to email them, you want to send them direct mail, and you want to drive for dollars. Don't sell yourself short by picking one marketing channel. You want to surround your seller in all aspects as much as you possibly can, because most people are not ever going to do that, and that's what's going to make you different. So, sorry guys, these are the Property Street View postcards that I recommend. It's got the picture of the own house right on there. I buy houses for a cash offer right here. Now, if you email your list to gobigprinting.com, they will mail these postcards out for you by using Google Earth to get the picture of the property. This is a huge open ratio. Like I said earlier, the national average response rate is 1.5%. I've got people getting 3, 5, 10, and even 15% response rates with these postcards right here. And when you buy our list, you get a special code to get these postcards sent for 42 cents instead of 38 like the other companies. I'm sorry, 42 cents and 38 cents. 42 cents for sending these postcards out instead of 99 cents like the other companies. I did find another company to do it for 59, but that's the cheapest I've ever found anybody. And I got these guys to do it for 42 because we're Foreclosures Daily. And they're only giving that price out to Foreclosures Daily clients, 42 cents. Now, for 38 cents, they're going to give you some basic postcards without the picture. See this postcard down here? Picture that with no house. Red, blue, black writing, and yellow highlighting. They'll do a postcard without the picture of the house for you for 38 cents with postage. So 38 cents with postage for this one right here with no picture of the house. But the ones with the picture of the house, they're going to do 42 cents, okay? Handwritten letter. This is what their handwritten letter looks like. So it's much neater and it's more legible than the other letters I showed you earlier. And most people charge $1 to $1.10 to mail out handwritten font letters. These guys are doing it for Foreclosures Daily clients only for 64 cents with postage. So we're creating value behind the leads that you purchase from us. And only if you purchase leads do you get these values. Because we want you to be successful in investing. If we don't help you be successful, then you won't come back, right? Then you will say the leads didn't work. All of our leads work, okay? You have to know how to market to them and do it the correct way and listen to us very carefully. Every market is different. Now, the bonuses you're going to receive when you purchase the list is a 6-step mailing campaign, which is what I showed you earlier, okay? On the timelines of when you should mail and the spacing in between your mailing. You're going to get a 6-touch campaign, Tells you what to mail first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And these are just examples of what we think you should do and what has worked from our previous clients, current clients, I'm sorry, what is working for our current clients. So these are things that they do now that are currently working. You're also going to get a phone script, and the phone script is wrote by the cash flow guys. It's a cash flow cheat sheet, it's called. It's a phone script on how to negotiate with a seller. We're going to give that to you too. We're also going to give you a phone script on how to speak to the attorney, expressing interest in the property and any other properties they may have when it comes to probates. And I also am going to give you an email to send to the attorney expressing interest in the property, as well as creating a rapport with them so that you can get other properties that they may have that they'll start resharing with you, okay? Now, I'm also going to give you those 2 postcards that I recommend that you use, the property street view one and the generic one with the red, black, and blue writing with the yellow highlighter. You're also going to get a copy of the letter we recommend that you use. We are also going to mail you a probate book directly to your property, and it's called Probate Real Estate Sales 101, wrote by Kevin Sales, who's the author of the book. We also did a webinar with him, and we'll share that webinar with you. It's an hour and a half long of him teaching the 7 ways to make money in probate real estate investing. Now, you're also going to get a special link to receive those reduced mail rates that we talked about, and a special link to receive the reduced skip rate tracing rates we talked about. So those are just some of the things that you're going to get for subscribing to Foreclosures Daily Leads. These are the cost of our leads. Now, you don't get all of these for this price. You get one of these for this price. So if you want probates, now guys, I'm gonna really stress the importance of this. Please don't have 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door. And what I mean by that, you want to go all in. You want to purchase a list for at least 6 months, if not a year. And the reason why, number 1, I'm going to offer you something free today. Number 2, you want to take advantage of that free thing that I offered you as long as you can. So if you make a 6-month commitment or a year commitment by Friday, you're going to get this bonus that I'm offering you in just a second here. You're going to get it longer. But stay on, because I've got some things to tell you after. Do not leave this webinar. So if you purchase 3 months, it's $599. It's usually $750. If you purchase 6 months, it's $999. It's usually $1,300. And if you purchase $1,750, it's usually $2,500. These are the discounts you're going to save if you purchase 6 months. You're going to save $200 if you purchase 6 months, and you're going to save $650 if you purchase a year. The longer commitment that people make, the more successful you are, because it's going to push you to work it longer, stronger, and harder. And it's going to show commitment, and you're in it to win it. And when you make 3-month commitments, you're kind of like 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door, like, I mean, if that's all you got, that's all you got. But the bottom line is we want you to make a longer commitment, because the people that make the longer commitments tend to be much more successful, because it pushes you to work it for that long, okay? So what we're going to do for you today is, if you want probates for, let's say, Hillsborough County or Maricopa County or whatever county you want probates in, and you want to add a county, we're going to give it to you for 50% off is what we usually do, but we're going to give you a free county. That's what we're going to give you. So if you purchase a 6-month or a year, you're going to get that free county longer. And I want to stress the importance of this. You cannot renew with that free county. We will charge you half off for that second county when you go to renew. And anybody on this call that's a client, and I know there's a lot of you that are clients too, and a lot of you are, but know the pricing. You know that we don't just give away a free county at the discounted rate. That like never happens. That's only happening on this webinar until Friday. If you buy by Friday, we'll give you a free county with whatever you purchase. So if you want probates for a year, it's $1,750. If you want to add a county, it's typically $875. But we're going to give you 2 counties for that price by Friday. Now, a la carte leads, 1,000 leads for $500. We're so much more expensive than the other companies. Why? Because we're not buying them 10 years ago and reselling them to 15,000 investors in the next 10 years. You're going to get them brand new. We actually going to give them to you brand spanking new, never been ordered before by us. Here's my contact information. It's Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. If you email me and I don't email you back, it's probably because you spelled it wrong. So if that don't work, you can reach out to me at 813-563-0005 extension 2. But my cell phone is really good to get a hold of me, because if I don't answer right away, because sometimes I'm overwhelmed with a lot going on, you can text me and say, hey Tangie, I just called you. And that's 863-698-8255. 3550 is my cell. That's 863-698-3550. That's my cell phone. Now, this pretty much concludes this presentation, but what I want to do is I want to show you what the data looks like. So let me go to another screen here and do a new share with our exportable spreadsheet right here. Well, this is our website. You log into ForeclosuresDaily.com and you search probate, pre-probate. You pick your county and your state and your date ranges, and then you hit search, and your data immediately loads every Wednesday here. You export the data to CSV. It downloads the entire search results, and bam, it gives you this right here. It comes into a really nice formatable spreadsheet that's uploadable to any CRM you typically have. It usually is very compatible because it's a CSV Excel sheet. So usually you can export it, upload it into any CRM. Now on the probates, on the probates and pre-probates, guys, you're always going to have the decedent's name, which is the person who died. You're always going to have the decedent's address. Okay, always going to have the decedent's name, the decedent's address of the person that died. Always. Okay. You're always going to have their address, property address. You're always going to have their mailing address. Now, that's all that's promised. But a lot of counties have property appraisers data, bedrooms, baths, type of property, parcel ID, tax assessed value of the home, type of property, the personal representative. That's not promised. But in a lot of counties, it's available. If it's there, great. Listen, people are 50 and 60 when they lose their parents. If they aren't responsible enough to drive over to mom and dad's once a week and check the mail, you don't want to deal with them anyway. If for some reason they're out of state and they can't go over and check the mail at the property, if you don't have the PR's address here, because there's some counties that they don't have the PR address, guys. You got to mail to the decedent and put to the Smith family. It's okay. It's their job to check the mail, liquidate the assets, and settle the estate. And if they're not checking the mail, like when my mom passes, I'm not gonna drive to New York and check the mail. She's in New York. I'm in Florida. I have to have her mail forwarded for 6 months to a year after the death. I don't like talking about the death of my parents, guys, but we're all born to die. We're gonna die. My parents are gonna die too. And when they do, I have to take care of their property. I'm the child that will be the PR, and I will have to take care of everything. And I'm no longer a child, so I'm going to do what's right. And I'm going to drive over once a week. I'm going to check the mail. And if I can't, I'm going to have the mail forwarded for 6 months to a year after the death. If they're not doing these things, you don't want to deal with them anyways, okay? So don't worry. The letter goes right to the property. The postcards, you can send right to the property, unless you get a PR name and a PR address. This is an example of Hillsborough and Pinellas. Hillsborough and Pinellas is very generous with their information at the courthouses. So you do get the PR's names and addresses. But look down here. These don't have them. Do you know why? These are pre-probates, not probates. See? Pre-probates, there is no PR yet. They just died 1 week ago. So there's no PR's, names and addresses on a pre-probate, but they are on a lot of the probates, and a lot of probates are not. It's hit and miss, guys. If it's there, mail to them, skip trace them. If it's not, skip trace the decedent. Somebody's typically answering that phone, checking the mail, doing what they're supposed to do. And you can reach out to the family members too. If you use those free skip tracing services, if you Google my name, you're going to get my husband, my son, my father, my mother, my brother. You're going to get all my families right on Google. You can skip trace me, my family members are going to come up. You can call them too. Now, attorney. A lot of times the probates, not the pre-probates, guys. There's no pre-probates there's no attorneys on pre-probates. Look, blank. Everything after the PR is blank on a pre-probate. Why? Because we can only get name, address, and some property appraisers data on the pre-probates. We can't get PR in the attorney because there is none yet. So you're going to reach out to these attorneys, guys, if you can. If the phone number's available, call them. If the email's available, email them. I gave you the phone script, or I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the email to send to them. Reach out to the attorney. Again, surround your seller. I talked about all the ways to surround your seller, and I left out the attorney. The attorney is definitely the one you want to contact as well as the homeowner. In the email that I give you and the phone script that I give you teaches you to talk to the attorney. Hey, I'm reaching out in reference to a probate property on Huntsville Street that you're representing this case. I'm interested in purchasing the property. Can you get me in touch with a personal representative or let them know that I'm interested in purchasing? That's all you got to do. You just reach out to them. But that's our list. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A, guys. Got a little time left here. We're going to go ahead and open it up to Q&A and answer some questions. Dan, what is a pre-probate? A pre-probate means that they died last week. We verified there's real estate attached, and we give the lead to you this week. Benefit of using a pre-probate lead is not only will you be first at the door, but sometimes they'll inherit the property via trust and may not have to go through probate at all. However, the benefit of working a probate is at least they've already filed if they have to, and most people do, if they may be closer to making a decision. Kevin, how many people do you sell leads to in any given market? I know what you're saying. Okay, basically he's asking about the competition. Now here's the deal, guys. Probates is not competitive. There's not a lot of people working probates. You might have a handful of people, and I'm sure you're not worried about 3 or 4 people using the same leads as you are. If you call me today and you're in Pinellas County and you want to sign up, I'm going to sell the leads to you. If Kevin calls me and he wants to sign up too, I'm going to sell the leads to Kevin. That's 2 people in Pinellas, and I may have 6 more. You might be competing with a small amount of people, but on foreclosures, it's not like you're marketing to thousands, to competition with thousands of other investors that are utilizing the same list. A lot of people are very ignorant to probates. Not a bad thing, just means that they don't know. And with that being said, when they're working a list that they don't understand, they're not going to work the list. They don't want to work it because they don't understand it. But as I taught you in my fear slide, it's not for you to understand. It's for you to know your job. And if you know your job, you can work any lead in the whole world. But because of that, I don't want to say ignorance, for the lack of better words, ignorance, but because of that ignorance, a lot of people don't understand probate, so they don't work it, which makes it one of the hottest leads nationwide you'll ever get. Do you know seasoned investors who've been doing this for 20 years will call me, and every time they add a county, they do a year forward and a year back because they want back data too. So important, and they understand probates, and they don't understand the process. They just understand that how to work the list. When you work list, you're working the lead. You're working a homeowner who's somebody else's neighbor, whether they're in divorce, foreclosure, probate, their situation doesn't matter. You're going to market to them, and it doesn't matter what their situation is. So, but because of the mentality, Kevin, because of that mentality, your competition is very minimal, sweetie. You might have a handful of people you're competing with, not many at all. So you don't have to worry about people chasing the same lead as you. You might have 1 or 2 people in your area, and if you're in a hugely populated area, you might have 10. I mean, that's like, I don't think we have any lead source that we sell that has 10 subscribers. It's just a small group of people working a smaller, tight, niche list, but yielding much bigger return. So I hope that answers that for you. Now, Maurice asked, how often should I change up marketing letter to postcards in the 6-month period? Well, Maurice, don't worry, sweetie, because when you purchase the leads, I give you that 6-touch campaign, and it tells you, you know, what you should mail first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth as an example. So if it was me, I would mail out the Property Street View postcard or the generic postcard first, one or the other. So whatever one you use first, use the other one second. And then the third campaign, I would do the handwritten letter to reach out to the people that didn't really pay attention to the postcard, right? And then the 4th, 5th, and 6th, repeat the process. So if you do the generic postcard first, the second marketing piece should be your Property Street View postcard. Your third one should be your letter. Then your 4th one, you'd go back and repeat that process. Same thing. The 4th one, you go back to the postcard, the generic postcard. The 5th one, the Property Street View again, and the 6th one, the letter. You can do it like that if you want. It's kind of like whatever you guys really want to do, but that's my suggestion to you of what I found that's working for some of my clients better. All right. So Matt, the name of the handwritten envelope company for 64 cents. Well, you have to be a subscriber to get that. I mean, I'll give you the name, but they won't give it to you for that price unless you're a subscriber of Foreclosures Daily. But it's Go Big Printing. Go Big Printing will do it for 64 cents. Okay. Jose. Those probate leads, do you include personal representatives' addresses or only owners' addresses? To whom do you send the probate letters to? If you pick a county that doesn't have the PR's names and addresses, you're going to send the letter right to the homeowner, to the Smith family. It is like very much their job to check the mail and liquidate the assets and settle the estate. And like I said, most people are 50 and 60 when their parents die. So Jose, they're usually checking the mail. I mean, at my age, I would check the mail if my parents passed. When my parents passed, I'm going to check the mail. And if I can't, I'm going to have it forwarded to me. And listen, honey, if they inherit a property from their parents, that's their parents' biggest investment they ever made in their whole lives, usually is their house. And if they're not going to take care of that, they're not going to take care of you. So don't do business with them people. Anyways, it's not a loss. So if they're not checking the mail and they're not having it forwarded to them, just be glad you dodged that bullet, okay? Dan, hi. Okay, let's see here. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. He said this webinar has been great. We really appreciate that. Do we offer our marketing campaign for direct mail? We absolutely do. We offer a 4 to 6 step mailing campaign. It just gives you suggestions on how often you should mail, and you will get that when you become a subscriber. No, we're nationwide. We do not provide lists for Florida only. We are nationwide. We literally provide leads throughout the entire nation. We're in local realtor groups everywhere. Arizona, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida. We're everywhere. We're Ohio. We literally are all over the whole nation. Do skip tracing services cross-check phone numbers with a do not? They should. By law, they should. You'd have to ask them, but most of the ones we've recommended, we've heard, I mean, the ones I recommend, I'm pretty sure do, but you'll have to ask them. What are the top lists we get outside of probate and pre-foreclosures? Here, I'm gonna name through the top 6 or 7 that are working really good, you guys. Probate and pre-probate are the top 2, and they share the spot. They really do share the #1 spot. They're both equally as good. Should you use one if you use the other? Absolutely. It's called striking the iron while it's hot. You want to strike it 1 week after the death. You want to strike it during the whole process. You want to strike the iron while once the probate is filed, and you want to market them for 3 to 6 months after. You want to be marketing to them that whole 6 months. So you should absolutely use the pre-probates and the pre-probates and the probates. And will there be duplication? Of course. Some people that are going to be on the pre-probate list might show up on the probate list 6 months later, but who cares? It's going to spark you up to do another 6-step mailing campaign when they might be ready to sell. So the top lists that we have are probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violations are really hot, you guys. Code violations are fantastic. You've got the grown-up grass, you have the trash and debris. I mean, code violations are great. Now, we also do evictions. Evictions are working really good right now. You know, tired landlords, because when you do eviction list, the benefit of that is you're going to get the landlord's name, the person who owns the property. Maybe he's tired of renting. Maybe he has an investor with a portfolio of properties and he's just sick and tired of renting and he wants to liquidate his portfolio. So probate, pre-probate, code violation, eviction, inheritance, divorce, those are our top 6 lists, okay? But on the a la carte side, absentee owners with high equity, unknown equity, free and clear. We have cash buyers list. We also have an investors who own a portfolio of properties list. And we can also customize your list for you as well. I hope that helps. So you're coming in late. Each service, no, yeah, each service is $5.99 for 1 county. Probate alone is $5.99 for 3 months, but we do recommend at least a 6-month, if not a year. Like I was saying, you want to be in it to win it. You want to be all in. You want to purchase as long as you possibly can because you want to make the biggest commitment you can. I don't know how many people will go out and spend $25,000 on training and then they're scraping change together to purchase a 3-month list. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's all you have in your budget, that's all you have. I get it. But don't do that unless you have to. If you can purchase longer, you should consider purchasing longer because you want to work this list for at least 6 months, if not a year. I have people that will do a 7-step mailing campaign. Like I said, my seasoned investors will order back data and going forward data because they want to work last year's list too, because they understand it's really hot, because nobody's marketing to them anymore, right? but you never want to order just last year's list. You always want to use going forward list. You just get the back data to help flourish, help float you and get you deals while you're waiting for your new data to flourish. But yeah, $5.99 is 3 months to you. Okay. Do you only offer list, or do you have marketing division that handles the marketing side? Well, we can recommend some companies for you like we did on our slides earlier. And I'm going to share this webinar replay with you guys too. So you're going to have access to replay this anytime you want. But we don't do the marketing for you guys, but we just give you all the tools necessary to be successful and try to help give you links of companies that to help you do your marketing through those companies that we recommended. Does the probates have real estate in them guaranteed? Absolutely. We're the only company that I've ever found that will give you probates with actual physical real estate attached. Everybody else is quarterly and they're not farming for real estate. So you end up with 300 people and you're mailing and calling 300 people who only had 15 of them had property. So you are wasting 285 pieces of mail, and on a 6-step mailing campaign at $1 a pop is an $1,800 mistake. Don't do that. Cheaper is not better, period. Cheaper is not better. Yeah, there's going to be a replay. I'm going to send every single one of you a replay. And by the way, if you reach out to me by Friday, we're going to give you a free county for anything that you signed up for at the discounted rate. Instead of paying 50% off, we'll give you a free county if you get it by Friday. When we hang up, I'm going to email you a copy of everything that was offered on this one. I'm going to email you a sign-up form to sign up for the leads. So you're going to have that sign-up form that you can print out, fill out, take a picture of, scan, text it back to me, 863-698-3550, or you can email it to me, Tangie@ForeclosuresDaily.com. So if you want to sign up, I'm going to send you a sign-up form, or you can call me. 863-698-3550 is my cell. Somebody type that in, will you? 863-698-3550. Let me type that in. I thought I had that on my slide. That's my text if you want to text me. Let's see. Send. There was a home. All right. If I buy a list, do I limit the number of mailings to each list? No, we don't. You guys can do whatever you want with that list when you have it, as long as you keep its sole proprietary. Okay. Your list, you cannot share with anybody. It's a single user licensing agreement. But you can market to them as many times as you want for a year straight, 20 times if you want. We don't limit the amount of times you're allowed to mail to them. Yes, there's a replay. We'll probably get you the replay tomorrow, guys. In what situation would you need to skip trace? Every single lead you buy, you need to skip trace, because you need to call them. Listen, don't pick one marketing channel. You want to do all of them. I understand. Listen, guys, sometimes your budget's so slim, you just can't afford to do all of it. So you have to pick, well, do I call? Do I mail? And a lot of you guys like to try to call because it's so cheap to just skip trace the number and call them, and it's easy, guys, right? Who wants to take the hard road when you can take the easy road? But it's the people that take the hard road that are going to be successful. You're going to get out of this business what you put in it, and that's it. You don't want to put any skin in it, you're not going to get much out of it. You're going to reap what you sow, guys. If you can only afford to do one marketing channel, then my suggestion is to wait to be an investor until you can do a surround your seller type of situation. If you can only afford one marketing channel and you had to pick between mailing or calling, which one should you do? I hate that, because I don't want you to have to pick. I mean, I'm going to tell you direct mail, because somebody's usually always handling the mail. But I mean, I know calling is easier, but if you can find a way to, and get a partner. If you can't afford it, I bet you there's somebody else in your situation sitting at a RIA group right next to you. What's wrong with standing up and saying, hey, I'm brand new. I've only got so much money to market. Is there anybody that will willing to go in on this list with me, and we can market it together? Maybe you can do the skip tracing and I can pay for the mailing. And you know how many people would actually come up to you after the meeting? You know, you just got, listen, say something at your local RIAs. These people are dying to help you. We're nationwide, Mela. We are nationwide. Not just in Florida, not just in Missouri, we're everywhere, we're nationwide. Even if we can't get probates in your local area, we'll pull pre-probates, so what? Okay, I got a client on here that says that thanks me for a response to my questions. He already gets our list and he'll be calling me tomorrow to add some counties. Thank you, we appreciate that. Hi, Jorge. Do you have a list to show commercial properties and apartment complexes? Listen, we can pull commercial properties, we can pull apartment complexes, but not with probates, pre-probates, inheritance, divorce, code violations, or evictions. Not with a list like that. We'll just be able to pull you just a basic list of commercial properties or a basic list of apartment complexes. They may not be facing any sort of distress, but we'll definitely be able to pull them for you. Our evictions and code violations, these lists up here, guys, probate, pre-probate, inheritance, divorce, code violation, evictions, they're weekly. Whoever died last week is going to be on our list this week. They're really that fresh. Whoever filed probate last week is going to be on the list this week. Whoever had a code violation last week is going to be on this list this week. That's how fresh they are. They're very fresh. Nobody does this. And by the way, we're the only company I've ever found to have pre-probate. Yes, all of our lists have property. We don't see a sense in giving you leads that don't have real estate attached. It just doesn't make any sense to us. And we don't understand why other companies do that. You know why they do that? Let me, to their defense, okay? Here I am defending the other companies. Why they don't do it is because if John Smith dies, they have to take John Smith's name, they have to go to the property appraiser site, the tax collector's site, they have to search all 50 John Smiths in Hillsborough County to find the right John Smith that died with real estate. The owner of our company understands how important that data is. So we go the extra mile, have the extra staff on hand to sort through all that to guarantee real estate on every single one we give you. So yes, they all have property. We do not have a CRM to hold your list. I recommend, there's a lot of good CRMs out there that aren't very much money at all. And you know, I'm going to start adding CRMs to my slides because I know you guys are always asking me about CRMs. And guys, if you're still listening, well, I know you are. There's hundreds of people on this call. Type in a couple of good CRMs for me that are cheap, don't cost a lot of money, that you can recommend to these newbies. I know there's CRMs out there you can use. I mean, they got Infusionsoft, Podio. Podio's a good one somebody put on there. I've been hearing about Podio lately. Another person, Podio. Are these cheap, guys? I mean, what are we looking at for cost here? So we can give these people an idea. And that's why I said, guys, if you go to your local Facebook groups and just go on there, wholesaling houses full time, all these companies out there, all these Facebook groups, just type in real estate Facebook groups and you ask questions. Hey, what's a good CRM everybody's using? Podio, this guy puts on here. They're very inexpensive. $0 without automation for Podio, somebody put. Okay, $0 without automation for Podio. Is that correct? Are you saying it doesn't cost any money with no automation for Podio? Is that what you're saying? Either way, if you want a local Facebook group, ask any question you want. I've heard of that. Zoho. I've been hearing about Zoho lately. I've been hearing a lot about Zoho is a good CRM. And guys, you know, most of my investors start out brand new and they start out with an Excel spreadsheet. Listen, our leads, the header columns don't change on your probates each week. You could literally copy and paste the data from 1 week onto last week's spreadsheet and just add a column and put the date that you have to mail them for the next 6 months, okay? And Excel's an amazing thing. You can sort it by dates. So it'll tell you and pop up next to what you gotta mail next. But Zoho and Podio is what everybody's saying, guys. And yeah, Jeff says correct. Without any automation, Podio doesn't cost anything is what Jeff's saying. $0 the last time he checked. And so Podio, guys, Podio. Thanks, I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Okay, guys, any more questions? We're gonna be closing this pretty soon. Well, we thank you so much for being on this webinar tonight. We're looking at about, I think it's 9:30, 9:40, 9:39. So we did good. We did an hour and a half, just like we said we would. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to text me. Again, it's 863-698-3550. Text me if you have any questions. Call me. My cell phone's 863-698-3550. My office line is down below. You can call me on that, extension 2. You can also email me, Tangie@ForeclosureDaily.com. But I promise you within the next hour, I'm going to have an email sent out to all of you with a sign-up form in case you want to sign up for our leads. And you are going to get a free county on these leads here: probate, pre-probate, inheritance, co-violation, eviction, and divorce, and the foreclosures in Florida. You'll get a free county on any of those that you buy. This person says, let's say you pull an eviction list and a code violation list. How far back are you going to pull a list of this nature? Well, we're only going back to last week. I mean, if you want to go back and say, hey, Tangie, I want all the code violations from 3 months ago, I can definitely do that for you. It's going to be the same price as the 3 months going forward. I don't know. I mean, our lists are weekly and fresh. So when you buy code violation and evictions for this week, we're going to send all the people we got code violation and evictions this week was literally from code violations and evictions that happened last week. I'll send you guys all out a replay for sure. We're absolutely, the owner usually gets that back out to us in the morning. It's only 6:40 where you're at. It is 6:40 where you're at, isn't it, Kyle? Well, it's 9:30 here. You must be in Pacific time. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end this webinar. Thank you so much for joining in. Steve's saying goodbye. Steve, you can unmute yourself. Tell everybody goodbye. I see you. Unmute Steve. There we go. Unmute your.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I really enjoyed the webinar. Hope you guys did as well. Tangie, can you hear me okay? I know we were having some audio issues earlier. I don't think Tangie can hear me, but I'm just going to say this for everybody attending. I do have a couple bonuses for those who get started with the services. These are services that I've been using through Tangie for years now. I send a couple extra pieces of mail to the executors and to the attorneys. So I send out like kind of an example of, I title it What to Expect from Us. So it kind of just sets the tone for the executor of the estate of what the process is going to look like. Because sometimes people say no to what they don't understand. So it's a little extra piece of mail that I include. So I'm going to include that. I also compare us versus listing it with a real estate agent, because that is one of the biggest forms of competition with this. And I just can't state it enough what Tangie said. Guys, I've been basically working probates consistently for 8 years. The beautiful part about it is you don't need a ton of leads to make this very, very profitable, and you don't need more than 12 to 15 hours a week to do this. What I personally do is I mail a letter to the executor, a letter to the attorney that first week. I call both parties, leave a voicemail with both parties. I text the seller, I text the executor, I email the executor, and then I follow up each week with that pattern. And it's a wonderful thing. So last thing I want to say, guys, is just to give you a real practical example of 20 leads in a week. If you have 20 leads in a week, it's very common where 2 or 3 of them, when Tangie was saying you want to hit them first and you want to hit them last and you want to hit them from all angles, that is one of the most crucial parts she was talking about. Like, all of it was wonderful, don't get me wrong. That is so powerful. So 2 or 3 of them are going to want to sell right now. There's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 that are going to want to sell here in the next couple of weeks. And there's going to be a few that want to stay in the home and a few that want to list it. But those, compounded week after week start to add up incredibly fast. So just a couple of things I wanted to state there. But Tangie, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed this webinar and got a lot of value out of it. And if you have any questions for me personally, reach out, StephenHowellMentoring.com. My email is Stephen@StephenHowellMentoring.com, and I'm more than happy to hook you up with some great content and to answer any questions you have around what you heard tonight. So thank you guys for coming out, and thank you, Tangie. All right, have a good night.
Bye. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody have a good evening, and we hope to see you in a week or two. I think we got another webinar coming up shortly. And Steve, I'll talk to you tomorrow.